Welcome back, everybody. This is Ty with another video for you, and what you're looking at is a Taito Gladiator. I was able to get this off of a good friend of mine, James. His YouTube username is Iconoclast518, and he's got some pretty good videos up there. He has fish videos, as you know, like fish in a tank, and arcade game videos. So if you're interested in either of those things, it's a good channel to check out. Anyway, so he picked up a converted Robotron cabinet that had been converted to a Gladiator, and I have the marquee and the bezel that go along with it. And it's a game I used to play all the time back when I was in high school. Actually, I would take my school is really small; it's a tiny school, and when I had study hall, I could leave the school grounds and I would go to the there's like a video store right in town, really tiny. And in the back, they had a pool table, a Crystal Castles, a Versus Castlevania, and a Gladiator. There might have been another game. I don't remember if there was another one or not. It's hard to remember. But yeah, I used to play this a lot. Gladiator's a lot of fun. You can see some gameplay in a bit here. But so anyway, so James bought the cabinet because he wants to put a multi-Williams inside that cabinet. So he has no use for this Gladiator board. So I traded him. Well, it wasn't even really my monitor to trade, but that monitor that I fixed up, I gave him that, and then he gave me this. And he cut off a little bit of the harness that was in the cabinet. This is the whatever. This is his cabinet still had some of the Robotron harness in it, as well as this conversion kit harness in it. So he cut it off at about maybe like a foot long. And what I've got here is this is a JB1 JAMMA edge connector, and these are really nice. You can get those from JAMMAboards.com, and what's nice about them is you can solder the wires right in quite nicely there. And it's got a good key, so it's easy to not screw it up. It's just a nice little setup there, so I thought I would share that with you guys right there. So that's the JAMMA Boards one. So now what I've done here, the first thing I did is when you're doing this, you don't want to wire. You could wire everything up at once and check it out, but the best thing to do is just wire up the power, get your video or your speaker working, wire it up, and plug it in. And that's what I've done here. I've got the wires for the speaker and everything else hooked up to this, and yeah, so that's that right there. And I plugged it in and it works fine. So now I got to hook up all the controls. So I just want to show you that right there. This is how it is, and when I'm done, I'm going to have it hooked up completely. You'll also notice I've got the spade connector here, and that's because on a JAMMA connector you have a separate line for the video ground, whereas on this Gladiator board it does not have a separate video ground. And I wasn't sure if I should connect it directly to the logical ground or not, but I did, and it works. Without it, you get you get a little bit of distortion in the video, so that's just something to note there. So yeah, that's that right there. I'm going to wire that up. I'm just going to show you real quickly some of the other. Got this in this thing here. I got these other JAMMA edge connectors you can use, and I want to show you the differences. Okay. So these are from JAMMA boards as well, and this is a little bit different. This is kind of like a more advanced version of the board. This is the JB2, and you might not always have a need for this, but for a couple of my projects, it's actually really good. So I've got two of these, and right there, that's the JB2. And what's different is it's got connectors for headers on here. So that's really nice. You can get everything connected up and put headers on this, so you can have it plug in. I'm going to use that with my JAMMA Super Nintendo. And I have in here one more of the Oh, that's not a JB1. That's a double-sided connector. So I don't have another JB1. That's my last one. So I'm going to need another one of those. This is just a straight-up JAMMA connector with the holes in it, but it's not the JB1. You notice that it doesn't have the labels on it, except for the key info. So what you do is with this one is you put it in like this, and if let's say you want to, like for example, make a Neo Geo adapter, which is essentially JAMMA, almost the same, you could use that, or a Capcom adapter. That's why I used it for one of mine. I ended up buying a Capcom adapter in the end. And then you have something like this, a real simple one here. This works fine too, but you can see you got solder directly on there. It's actually, there's nothing wrong with using this. I just prefer Use another one. Now, one thing Bob Roberts says on his website is it's not as good to use these because the power connections might not be as... There's tiny little traces that are smaller traces if you look at them closely. You see how wide the pin connector is, but then all of a sudden you get in close, you see that the trace is smaller. I don't know if that's going to be a problem in particular. Well, at least on these boards. They don't use a lot of juice. I think it depends on what kind of game you're hooking up. So this would be better to use in terms if you wanted to have a better contact. So I've got 2 of those. I'm using my last JB1. I'm a little bit surprised. I thought I had another one of those, but I don't. So yeah, that's it on that one. So I guess I'm going to have to order some more of those. I've got to get some for James too, because he said he needed some. So yeah. So this JB2, this one's really cool though. I like this one. I can use it just like a JB1. Just ignore the headers there. So that's it. That's on that. So I'm going to get to work on the connections, and I'll be back with more video.